Hey everybody, it's Strict 9 with Strict 9 GP, and I'm back with this Giants playthrough and Out of the Park 22. Today we're going to finish out the 2023 season, thankfully, because I'm ready to move on from this season. It's been a rough one. We're at the start of September, and we're at the roster expansion period, but with the new rules, we're only able to bring up two additional players to go to full 28. So not going to really see a whole lot in terms of some of the new guys like Santos. I would love to get him some pitching time. And Frisbee, another guy who's actually developed a little bit this season. I'd like to get him some time, but unfortunately it looks like I'm going to have to wait until spring training to do that. One thing you'll notice there at AAA, we had an injury, which has been the story pretty much since the last episode. The plans just, they didn't develop the way they should have, the way I was hoping. But we'll look at the impact of that in a minute. But I guess I'm just gonna start off by giving like an update on the standings and how we've played since that last episode. It's been really rough. The only positive is that, if you want to call it a positive, is that Colorado is playing worse than us at the moment. If we can, ride out September with a decent, maybe get close to 500 or something, we might have a good chance of avoiding last place. But there's a good chance also that this is going to be the worst record I've had since I've taken up this team. We're currently 54 and 76, so 22 games below 500. If I look at my history, that would be easily, well, not easily, but that would be the worst by far that we've done. And it's still the offense. Look at the average for the team, just as a very high level stat to look at. It's been a real challenge. Even the good guys that I brought in here, like Devers, are not performing up to their level. I get it, San Francisco's not really a hitter's park, but I've got to somehow get some production out of some of these guys. But that's how we look in terms of the rest of the leagues. I mean, you're looking at 2 seasons on. I'm not seeing any real dominant teams necessarily. It's still in the West, the Dodgers, cream of the crop, but Arizona, if you paid attention in real life this season, the 2021 season, Arizona's really struggling. But they've got a good team going here in this playthrough in 2023. Pavin Smith, I know he is a fairly young prospect. It looks like he's developed into a good producer for the most part. Who else? Alec Thomas, who is getting regular play time. I've seen him really take off in several playthroughs and become a good offensive player. They got Zach Gallen looking good in the rotation. So surprisingly, they're looking good. They might be a team to challenge in the next few seasons. And you've already got San Diego for the most part. Although some of the guys that San Diego picked up to make their run currently, like 2021, are probably going to be aging out. You've got, for instance, Hosmer, who is now 33, and he's been injured this season. You got Machado, who's 31, but having a tough season. I think their window of opportunity is not as large maybe now as Arizona's. So if we can just get through this season, maybe have a decent off season, we might be able to compete. But the Dodgers, I don't see anybody catching them. Even in 2023, you got Mookie Betts still in his prime, 30 years old. You got Bellinger, 28, and just rated phenomenally in this game. He's a hard one. Anytime you come up against a team that's going to have Bellinger on there, because I've seen multiple playthroughs and he's just dominated. Seems like in every playthrough I've run. You got Will Smith, just 28. I mean, this is still young Gavin Lux. I mean, this is a young team offensively. And then you got Buehler, Bauer. These guys are going to have a few good years left in them. Urias, who has been used quite a bit in this playthrough. I guess I didn't check it out. They picked up Chapman, or all this Chapman in this season. I didn't see. Uh, well, there's Jansen, but I didn't see Kershaw. I don't know if he's retired or moved on from them or not. I'm not seeing him on the injuries, but regardless, Dodgers still the team to beat. And the rest of the leagues, Mets, Braves looking good. Milwaukee looking pretty good here in the Central. And the American League, still Houston, and Oakland. Those two teams really compete year to year. And they got Cleveland probably, well, not probably. They are they've got the best record. They're probably the closest thing to dominant as any team in these leagues. And then New York, running away with the East right now. The races are really going to be maybe in the Central, maybe in the West in that American League. But in terms of what we've done, let's take a look at the team statistics. We are last in so many categories offensively. 15th in on-base and slugging, runs scored, home runs. It's terrible. And then in the pitching side, our starter's ERA is first. We're third in wins above replacement. We're first in home runs allowed. Probably has a little bit to do with the park we're playing in, but still, pitching is definitely better. Offense is just really pathetic, taken all together. We had a decent July after having that pitiful June, which was kind of the last episode. We talked about that. And now August was a big step back. And we'll take a look at the individual performance, and I'll show you, too, with the injuries, what really happened. So one thing that I'm doing now as we get to September, I am calling up our top prospect. He is number 8 overall, pitcher who was injured to start the season, wound up getting 13 starts in Sacramento. I'm going to give him some chance here. I mean, with the limited roster spots available, I thought it was worth taking a look at this guy. The great thing about him is, there's a few good things about him, honestly. His stamina is above average, but he has 5 pitches that are above average, which I love to see. He's extreme ground ball. I don't know if that's going to matter too much in San Francisco, but his movement is really good. It's hard to get much higher than this. I don't really see many, unless it's maybe a dominant closer type pitcher. I don't really see too many pitchers who get above 60, say, in movement. So that's where he's at right now, with a little bit of room to grow. 3.5 star potential from My Scout and 4-star potential from OSA. They like him even better, really, because his stuff and control is rated to be above average from OSA. But I'm going to give him a look because we're going to have Barrios going off, or Barrios, however you say it. Barrios going off next year, because he came on and had a good season. And like I was talking last episode, I really wish I had signed him for a few more years. I mean, this is a very good value contract for this season. This guy, he was an all-star, I believe, for us this season. Yeah, he was an all-star. He was a big surprise. I expected him to be adequate, but he's been really better than adequate. ERA is low. He's finally at 500 for wins. We're giving him a little bit better support. If you look at this, one statistic I really like is FIP. That's where it kind of gets a little weird. That's fielding, I think, independent pitching. So he's being helped, I think, by the defense behind him and being in that San Francisco Giants park. But that's where, I guess, and one of my viewers pointed out, I mean, this being a pitcher's park, maybe my gamble in that free agent year after 2021, I really put too much money into pitching. I think that's the lesson. I really need to probably put money into offense. But he has been really good. Clevenger, again, because of, I think, the park that we're in. If I take a look at his fielding, independent pitching, he's a little bit better. He's got a 324, but he's having a good season. He's already at 4.6 wins above replacement. I think that turned out to be a good pickup. Sheffield is looking good. He's currently still in that fifth spot, but he has been really dependable and even gotten better. No, I'm sorry, that's Logan Webb. I still think Sheffield too, even though maybe the ratings don't show it. I think he's improved a little bit as the season's gone on. So he's at 3+ wins above replacement right now. So the pitching has really been good. Bullpen, maybe not as much. We're still struggling with bullpen. The two big pickups we had, Presley and Trinan. Man, Trinan's still struggling. He's had some injuries, but August was a little bit better. So I'm hoping that he in just five appearances he didn't give up any runs. And I think I'm not sure if that was though in Sacramento. Actually, yeah, he just came back after an injury, so he could be a bust. Elledge is currently the closer and pitching well. It's just he's angry because he wants to be in the starting rotation. He doesn't have the stamina. I covered that, I guess, last episode. But then if we move over to the lineup side, the big thing that's really hurt us is the two guys that I really wanted to get playtime got injured on me. And we'll look at that, what I'm talking about. But I wound up having to just move on from Freddie Freeman. And so I made the decision to go with my best prospect, which is Marco Luciano. I wanted to get his bat in the lineup, so I moved him over to first in the minors for a month before started him there, and then brought him up to the majors, and he was starting to produce. You see his line there, 139 ops plus. He is going to strike out a little bit, but he's got some good power overall, and I think that's already starting to show. This guy, I think, if he develops, is going to be a really good player. But then he got injured. The good thing about him, it wasn't a long injury, and so now it was, 5 weeks. But now he's coming off that. He's currently in a rehab assignment in the minors. I'm going to leave him there for a week or so and then bring him up. And then Hunter Bishop, the other guy I was wanting to get a look at. Now, he stunk it up in his initial call-up early in the season. I tried him again, and he had flashes where he looked pretty good, but he's going to have more time in the minors, in the majors. That's what I was hoping to do. I was just going to ride it out for the rest of the year, and he got injured, and he's not going to be back. So that's where we're at offensively. There's really not much positives to even call out. Maybe Joey Bart, who is a good defensive catcher. He has a captain rating, so that's important. His offense, though, is starting to, look dependable, I would say. So that's probably a positive. Devers, he's not the player that he was in Boston, but I think he's going to be productive for us. Blankenhorn, he definitely played better than he did last year. It wasn't a total risky move putting him in that starting lineup, but I still want somebody better, I guess, long term. Miyazaki's still struggling after being Rookie of the Year. He's upset as well. I think the whole team's upset with their performance and record, but I don't know what to make of this guy. He's still a good defender, even though he's not going to have some of the best range or zone rating probably in the. He's got a lot of errors too in the majors, but he's a good defender. But his offense, it's gotten better, but it hasn't been where I think it needs to be. It hasn't been where he was last year offensively, and he's a negative WAR player right now. And Ramos, a guy who I thought was going to be a long term. He's just 23, about to turn 24. I thought he might have a chance at taking over in right field so that we would have a pretty good corner, actually a good outfield altogether if Ramos develops, Hunter Bishop develops, and then you've got Miyazaki. But I think they're probably a year or so away from developing. But that's pretty much it for the offense. Not a whole lot. Garcia, a pickup, free agent. He's only a 1-year pickup. I doubt I'll re-sign him. His ops plus is below league average. He strikes out quite a bit, doesn't walk too much. He doesn't have that much power. I would rather Ramos develop. So that's where we're at. What I'm going to do is just kind of get through this last month, and we're at Friday now. The big thing I'm going to be paying attention to is Luciano on that rehab assignment. I want him back as soon as possible. We start off the month with a loss, 3-8 to the Angels. Blankenhorn may have had a home run here. No, he drove in a couple, but just 4 hits. Not good. And Barrios had maybe his worst outing in a while. He really, I think, might want to come back, but just to give you an idea of what he's asking for, $13.5 million at this point. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think I could get that from him again. So I'm going to move on. I'll take a look at that end of season just to see. It might go down a little bit if his performance drops. But with the season that he had so far and being an all-star, I think his value went way up. And so he was wanting a 4 or 5 year contract earlier in the year, right around 17 or 19 million. Couldn't do it. All right, so next game against Los Angeles, we win 6-1. That's a good outing. Devers, 2 hits in this one. Fernandez, a guy I called up while Bishop is injured. He's going to get some look. He's 28. I mean, he doesn't have good personality ratings. I don't think he's going to have a big future, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of effort into him, but he's just coming off the bench right now. Webb, a good outing here. 7 innings, just 1 run. And now we're going up against the Dodgers, I guess. There's a lot of news here. Bryan Reynolds hits for the cycle. A no-hitter from Matt Allen, a young 22-year-old pitcher for the Mets. Taylor Trammell is out. Players of the week, Jordan Alvarez and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman's an interesting guy. I've used him on 1 or 2 teams, actually, in previous other out-of-the-park 22 playthroughs. He's a good value type player. If you get him for something like this, like 2.2 million, even 5 million, if he produces like that, he's good all around. He's good defensively, plays multiple positions. His personality is strong. He's got good speed. I like those kind of players. So power rankings, we're all the way down here to 25th. And we've been in the bottom third pretty much the whole year. That's not improving too much. So Luciano, what's he doing? He's only gotten 3 games there, and he hasn't looked too good. Just 1 hit and 14 at-bats. I'm going to give him a few more games down there. So here's an offensive performance you don't see too often from this team. 13 runs against the Dodgers. Devers, 2 for 5, drove in 3. Blankenhorn, 3 for 5. Multiple hits from Simmons, Garcia, Bart. This is a good game offensively. Pitching, Sheffield was hurt early, but he managed to get the win. 6 innings, 5 earned runs. That's his 8th win. Elledge got the save. Garrett, who's thankfully going away after this year, I'm not going to re-sign him. He was really hammered. He's been looking terrible second half of the season. August, 964 ERA. Well, all over. He had 2 good months, and then most of the time he was really ineffective. Corey Seager had 5 hits in this game for the Dodgers. And game 2, we win 5-3. Good line. I like to see that. 2 hits from Devers. Bart, Garcia, 3 hits from Simmons. His defense is still valuable. A 10-plus zone rating. Efficiency, 1.08. A lot of assists still, percentage-wise, pretty good. He's got, I think, 1 more year with us. Well, 2 more years in that player option. His offense, though, is going to be a liability with his team. And here's the big news, though. Abram, his first ever Major League start, gets the win. 6 innings, just 3 earned runs. Against the Dodgers, we beat Trevor Bauer, who, I don't regret this move at all, getting rid of him. I regret the signing of him, knowing what I know now. But he is not performing too well in this playthrough. So I was lucky to be able to move on from him. But this was a good outing from a lot of the bullpen as well, trying in 2/3 innings, no hits or base runners, so that's good. So we're 2 games. We're going to win the series, but could we sweep Los Angeles? No, we lose 2-8. Too much to hope for. Devers still producing, man. He's had a good week here. 4 games now. He's 7 for 18, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. That's a good streak. Clevenger, unfortunately, batted around here. And Schmidt was a guy who I tried as a starter for a while as well. He could be in the mix next year. I think, scouting wise, he's better as a reliever. There's no question. If I look at his splits, what he did as a starter, which is going to be down here at the bottom, I think. No, wait. No, sorry. Looked at the wrong thing. He was not too bad. 14 starts, 3.40 ERA. Whip wasn't terrible. I think he may be in the mix next year for the rotation. I want to take a look at Abram, and I still want to be as competitive as it can be, so I'm not going to take too many other guys out. So we got a amateur, but not a good one. And so now I want to take a look and see what Luciano's doing. He's starting to hit. I think I'm going to move him up now. He looked really good in Sacramento. So lineups wise, Blankenhorn is going to move back to left, and Luciano's going to play here. And I guess I'll just put this Vince Fernandez guy. I don't know where to put him really, because I'd rather. I mean, he's a good defender. I guess I can put him in there for Ramos. And where do I want Luciano? I think I'll protect him down here in that 6th spot for now. And then as far as Fernandez, he's a pretty decent runner. So maybe put him down in there. And he's got a decent bat, definitely better than Fitzgerald, so I'll put him in there for pinch hitting duties. And I want Dubon starting against lefties, but I will put Blankenhorn in there to get some starting time. He's rated pretty good against lefties, so I'll say every 3rd game. But Luciano has definitely got to be the one to start here. And I want him... I don't want him to bat up that high. So I'm going to put Dubon up there and put Luciano in that 5th spot. And against lefties, we're probably doing the same thing here. Fernandez going to be moving him here. Putting Blankenhorn. Well, actually, I want Ramos. That's right. I was wanting Ramos in DH here. And then Luciano. I'll put him in that 6th spot for now. Vince Fernandez is going to probably pinch it there. And then final thing here. So I want Blankenhorn to back up Dubon every 3rd game, but Luciano's going to be the first baseman, and I'm going to have him batting 5th against lefties, and then Blankenhorn's going to come in there and hit off the bench. All right, that should set it. That should set it. Sorry, there's a lot of movement. So we got Seattle at home now with Luciano back in there. I hope that we can get some offense going. In the first game, we scored 1 run. And Wyatt got the start. Barrios a good outing, but Trine and Presley, both those guys have been bust in the bullpen. We do win the second game 4-3. Merrifield, he's an interesting guy. If you know, yeah, he's just wanting too much. I mean, that's $10 million for 4 years. I could probably get him down a little bit, but I feel like he's going to be looking at potential injury issues. Elliott's got the 15th save here. Bullpen looked good. Webb, decent start to get his 8th win, but offensively, not much going on here. Luciano was hitless. But can we, third game, win to win the series? We do. Pitching to a 1-0. Just 3 hits in this game for us. Merrifield, 2 games in a row, he looked good. Sheffield, 8 2/3 shutout innings, and Elledge got the save. So that's not where our problem is. Obviously, we got a pretty decent looking prospect there. 2.5 stars from OSA that our scout found. Players of the week: Wander Franco and Austin Riley. Connor Cannon, first base. I wouldn't call him a prospect. He's 25 at high A, but he was the player of the week there. And power rankings, we've moved up a little bit. We're 20th. That's the highest we've been in a while. And we're just 20 games under 500 at the moment. And we're going up against Los Angeles again. Angels, though, 2 games on the road. They're struggling a little bit. Game 1, we win 4-3. Devers, great game here. 3 for 3, 4 RBIs. Miyazaki scored a couple. Luciano, he's been quiet. Hitless, in fact, since he got called up. Abram didn't get the win here, but 5 innings again. Elledge, 17th save. Game 2, we lose 5-9. So we're not putting together any streaks. Merrifield, though, 4 for 5. Luciano finally looked good in this one. Played some time at short. I know he's had some time in the minors. I'm not sure why he's getting put there. But Clevenger, what is that, his second start in a row where he's been hit pretty hard. So now we're going up against Colorado on the road, which I probably said multiple times in any of my playthroughs. You'll hear me say it. I hate playing Colorado on the road. First game, 10-2. That's not what you expect to see. But Miyazaki, Devers again. He's finishing off really strong. Luciano, though, 0 for 6. It's just, we're gonna have to ride it out. Barrios' 10th win. 2 games in a row where our pitching was good in Colorado. 7-0. And Devers again, 4 for 5. Luciano, 2 for 5. He may have had a home run here. Let me see. Miyazaki, Luciano, Devers had 2 home runs in this game. Really good to see that. I'm hoping Miyazaki starts improving offensively. And then Webb, gosh, that has to be his best performance of the year. And he's had some good ones here in this last few weeks. He's now 6-9, pitching a little bit better than he did last year. 3-star player, just 26. If his personality was better, I think he's the kind of guy you could build into a consistent 4th or 5th starter. And look at this, we sweep Colorado on the road, win 4-1. Miyazaki hot in this series. He was 3 for 4, scored 2, drove in 2. Bart drove in a couple. I'm not seeing, so Wyatt played for Marciano. Didn't get to play here. Abram, though, dang it, he's injured. So he, that could be the dilemma with him. He was injured coming in to start the season. So I'm hoping that's not going to be what we're looking at with him. So we're now just 17 games under 500. We're playing a lot better. Franco, again, player of the week. Rafael Devers, that may have been the only time we've had an offensive player of the week. Luis Matos at Eugene. This guy, I think I've been looking at him here and there. So he's high A, hitting over 300. 1.5 star with 2.5 star potential from my scout right now, but he's a righty, and gosh, I love having righty bats who can hit for average and power. He might be ready to go. If I look at his next move would be Double A Northeast. I think he will move up there next year. So keep an eye on this guy. I mean, he might develop. But he was player of the week there at High A, and power rankings we have moved up to 19th, so we moved up a spot. But I think we've been playing a lot better. I mean, we're 7-3 in our last 10. We're already eliminated, unfortunately, but that's to be expected. We got a tough 4-game series on the road against San Diego. Game 1, we lose 7-2. Devers hit his 29th home run here, but that's Luciano had a hit, but just 6 hits, 2 runs from the team. You can't win like that. Sheffield got battered around. Game 2 against San Diego. Oh, we got Ben Abram day-to-day for 2 days. That's fine. Game 2 against San Diego, we lose 1-2. Luciano get game here, so maybe he's starting to get hot. He was 2 for 3. Clevenger may be injured. No, maybe it's just an in-game injury, but he's back. Man, Trinan. Look how this guy's rated from OSA. Oh, no, that was... but he's still, he's still valuable. He's one of those few guys who I was talking about movement. That's what attracted me to the signing for him. That movement is about as high as you're going to see. Game 3, we're shut out 3-0. So all that good momentum down the tubes. Barrios a good game, but you can't. Paddock a really good game, but you can't win batting like that. We in the series with a 6-5 win. Merrifield 3 for 4. He's going to have a really productive year overall. Ramos a couple hits here. Miyazaki inching his batting average back up to maybe the 250 where he was last year. And Abram 6 innings again, man. Elledge got the save. 4 starts from this guy. We have won all 4 of his starts for what it's worth. I mean, he's going, pretty deep into a few of them. You take away that injury, he's had 6, 5, and 6 in the innings, so that's positive. Jacob deGrom injured in Atlanta for the rest of the year. I wonder what, 4 to 5 months. Cody Bellinger injured. I didn't realize he was having injury problems this year. So now we're going up against Chicago. Shut out the first game 3-0. Luciano had a hit. Dubon. Man, we got to get some offense. That's going to be absolutely 2-0, another shutout. That's going to be key to competing in the next year. So we're back plus 20 games under 500. Sheffield, no earned runs in 6, so he was really unlucky here. And we win that final one 7-4. Jelly, he's called up, so he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Probably want to put him on the IL so I can take a look at some other pitcher. And I probably want to bring up Santos. And I'll put him at middle relief and just see what he looks like. But 7-4. Devers has gotten a little bit cold again after that hot player of the week he had. Wyatt, as a backup first baseman, has looked good this season. Clevenger, he's going on. He's ending the season on a low note. Looks like. Players of the week. No, we're not quite there yet. Sorry. So we got Rangers out of the playoffs. Jimenez injured. Starting to see some younger players here showing up on some of these awards, like Trevor Larnach for Toronto. Juan Soto having a great year for Washington. Looks like he may have been injured, though, a little bit this year. So rankings, we're all the way back down to 23rd. And probably about where we're going to end up, really. And it looks like Kansas City's in the postseason. That's good. Hunter Bishop recovering well. I really would like to see this guy before the season's over, but we're getting pretty close to the end here. 3 games at home against San Diego. Game 1, we lose 4-6. Merrifield really looked good here. So did Barrios, but man, Presley and Elledge lost it in the bullpen. Then we lose 4-0. Luciano, a couple hits. Simmons, a couple hits. Abram, I tell you, another good outing from this guy. 6 innings, just 1 run, 7 Ks. Man, he is, I think, going to be in the mix for next year in that rotation. And then game 3, we lose 3-5. Hunter Bishop able to come back. Webb, unlucky in this one, really, in my opinion. So how many games do we have left? We're 65 and 88. Yeah, so we got a few. I really want to give... I'm going to have to call him down. I really want to give Hunter Bishop some time. So bear with me while I fix these lineups again. So Hunter Bishop is a lefty. I'm gonna give him the start there. Probably don't want to play him 4th, but I'm going to do it because you look at those power numbers there, especially against right-handed pitching. And I'm going to put Blankenhorn every 5th game, and then against lefties, because I really just want him to develop so much, I'm going to put Hunter Bishop in there. Yeah, I don't necessarily want him at the top of the lineup, but he does have some good speed and eyes, so he might make it. He might get on base a little bit. And then I want Blankenhorn, even though he's cold, I want him to pinch hit a little bit here. And Dubon, same for him. I don't think it really matters at this point to give him too much time. And then Blankenhorn will be here. He's really cold right now, too. Blankenhorn's struggling. And then last move, I'm going to put him in there for Dubon's going to play the rest of the outfield positions. All right, so this is what we're going to go with. And that'll give him... Oh man, what is that? 65 and 88. 9 games. So hopefully he stays healthy enough to finish out the season. Game 1 against Philadelphia, we're shut out again. Sheffield, 6 innings, 3 runs. But again, we only got 3 hits. So, and this is at home. So if I look just at our team stats, our home record is 29 and 50. So we're playing worse at home, and I didn't really take that into account. I guess I should have. That's on me, but I didn't really take that into account when I took over this team. But man, it is tough to get some offense at home. Look at that, 29 and 50. We've been competitive on the road. So how do you get offense in this park? Maybe you guys can let me know. I mean, would it be wrong to go for power hitters? Do I need to get some guys who, are good with getting on base and some speed? Maybe. That might be the best solution, but we got to do something to turn it around. That's pathetic. We lose again 3-5. Luciano had one hit and 2 at-bats. This guy's going to be, I think, fine. Look at his first base rating. He's already good to go at first. His contact's up to 50 now. Pitching-wise, Clevenger, 8 innings, but he got hit late. Looks like, yeah, 4 runs in the 7th. A lot of news. Let's finish out the series first, and then we'll look at that player development. So we finally win. But, man, we're already 24 games. We're finishing worse than we did last season. Merrifield had a couple hits. Miyazaki, 1 for 3. Bishop had a hit. Luciano. Elledge got his 21st save. This guy has looked good, but I don't see any upside because of he's just a 2-pitch pitcher and his control is bad. But, man, he's looked pretty nice for us. So a lot of news to go over, but I really want to look at the player development update. So we got Chris Peters. He's still eligible for arbitration. He had a really good season for us. One of the more dependable guys in the bullpen. We got some prospects picking up some ratings here. Down here at low A, a catcher who's now, he can play multiple positions, a 2.5-star potential. Billy Garrity, Braden Sanders. He is a 4th-round pick from 2021. Still at that Arizona league. He might be ready to move up. If I look at how he's rated against, I don't know. He may not be ready to move up, but he needs to start developing quick. Derek Mitchell, who was a 2nd-round pick in this year's draft. I like his power and speed and defense, but he's got a long way to go. He's just 19, but no real movement on the major league players. September's batters of the month, Wander Franco and Gavin Lux. And then Chris Sale, believe it or not, pitcher of the month with the Angels. Matt Allen, that young guy at the Mets, is looking good. Rookies of the month, Tobias Myers, Mayo Nakano. Brody Westbrook's my 1st-round pick this year. I moved him all the way up to San Jose in the low A ball, and he was pitcher of the month. He's developing really nicely. I don't think he's showing up on the prospects list yet, but he might sooner or later. Manny Machado hits his 300th home run. Jimenez and Lux players of the week. We're now down to 26th in power rankings, and we're going to finish up on the road here. So that's, at this point, probably a better for us. So we got 3 at Colorado. We win the first one 9-2. We've really done well against Colorado. I'd say it looks like Bishop 3 for 5 here. A good game from him. Multiple hits from several. And Abram, 2nd win. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of him. We win the next game 9-4. Multiple hits from Merrifield, Miyazaki, Devers, Luciano, 2 for 5. I'm not seeing Bishop. He got a rest here in this one. And then pitching, Webb, 7th win for him. Game 3, we win 6-5. So a good series. If we could play Colorado every game, we'd have it made. Luciano, 2 for 4, drove in 3. He's developing nicely. I think I like what I'm seeing here. I really do. 4-star potential. And, I mentioned before, he has played well at every stop in the minors. So he could be ready to go and really contribute. Sheffield picks up his 10th win. Elledge's 22nd save. Now we're going to be playing San Diego on the road. I wanted to check something. And where's the best way to see it? I think it might be a Major League Report. Is it under team statistics? No. I'm looking for the report where you basically see your head-to-head. I can't believe I'm having a problem with this. I think it's somewhere in here. I think. So here it is, team versus team. Sorry, that shouldn't have taken as long as it did. But if I look at what we did against Colorado, we're 12-7. So yeah, especially on the road, that's the team we should have played. So now finish up at San Diego. We win game 1, so we're going to finish with 70 wins at least. Devers, Miyazaki, good games here. That's all we needed for Clevenger. He was back to having a pretty decent outing. Game 2 against San Diego, we lose 3-4. Merrifield, man, I can't say he had a really good year for us. 3+ wins above replacement. I just don't want to pay him $10+ million. And Garrett blew the save. Otherwise, well, Barrios wouldn't have gotten the win, or would he? There's 2 runs, and Barrios may have gotten the win. And then last game of the year, we lose 6-7. Ben Abram hurt in this one. So Santos, he's injured for 2 weeks. I didn't realize that. So how does it end? Devers, pretty decent production from him, but I think just being in San Francisco, he's going to have a hard time putting up decent numbers. Bishop, he ended a little bit better. That's not a great line from him, but he ended better than he was playing earlier in the season. Abram, though the numbers may not look that great from him, I really liked what I saw from him. I'm looking forward to seeing what his ratings and stuff look like going into next year, but that's going to do it. I mean, that's the year. I don't see any personal news here, but I'm just going to skip through it. So we'll take a look at how the rest of the Albies leads in average, but let's take a look at the standings. So American League, New York in Cleveland, Kansas City. Cleveland, to me, that was a surprise. They had a great season. And then Houston, Oakland. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see who wins out of those. I mean, this is a pretty good, similar look to what it's been in the last few years, playoffs-wise. Well, Kansas City hasn't been there in a while, but I remember when they were going through their run, seems like some of these same teams were in there. Guerrero Jr. had a good season here. Two pretty decent years in a row from him. Wins above replacement. Jose Ramirez at Cleveland. He's looking to me like the MVP of the year in the American League. Sale, that's a surprise. Alex Wood at New York now. He's a guy who was with this team when I started. We traded him away. He's making now $17 million, and I wouldn't say he's gonna. Well, his numbers aren't that great to get to 18 wins, but I'm surprised that he's making that kind of money. And then Shane Bieber, who has been Cy Young in 21 and 22. He may do it again, which would be 4 straight years, which is, gosh, that's unheard of. But he's leading in wins above replacement again, strikeouts again, 15 wins. His ERA was down a little bit, but he might do it. And then Gossman, who I gave up on early because just his contract was so high. He had a respectable year there in Boston. Actually finished 4.7 wins above replacement, pretty good for him. Now, looking at the National League, New York and Atlanta in the East, and then Dodgers, best record in baseball. Milwaukee win the Central. San Diego had a good season. Looks like Arizona, unfortunately, didn't make it just because of Atlanta and San Diego having such better records. Colorado really struggled, 58 and 104. Baltimore as well struggled, 59 and 103. Individually, Albie's a good season, but is he injured? No. Who was injured here? Trey Turner is out. Mookie Betts led in RBIs. Acuna Jr., 44 home runs and 8 wins above replacement. He was MVP last year in the National League. He's got a good chance again, although Tatis, leads the league in wins above replacement. Pitching wise, Corbin Burns had a good season here. Looks like 17 wins, led the league in ERA and strikeouts. He was 7 wins above replacement. I think he's going to be the Cy Young there. And Barrios was, man, that'll tell you something, I guess. That's what's so amazing. This guy, 3.59 ERA, he was 3rd in the league, in the National League. That's how the rest of the league has been scoring, and we're just terrible. If you look at, again, the team reports, we didn't improve at all in offense through this last stretch. Pitching, starters ERA was 2nd. I think it may have been 3rd when we started, and we're top 10 in most categories and top half in most categories here. So pitching and defense were good for us, and I know we're going to lose some guys to free agency, and I'll take a look at that as we end the episode, but I still think, we got to find a way to get offense. I got to figure out what to do there. But look how we finished. I mean, we finished at 500 in September and October, 16-16. A lot of that may have been on the road. This will be a first for me to have a team that potentially plays better on the road. But I think, that's just me trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this, Yeah, so the home runs. Now, I don't really get too much into the ballpark factors. I don't like to adjust it. I know it seems like it might be pretty generous down that right field line if you got a left-handed bat. So I know I'm trying to get some right-handed power hitters. I may need to start moving away from that. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty deep to right center as well. So I don't really. Some of you might have some suggestions here. What do you think I can do offensively? What would be a good thing to build? I mean, do I need to look for high contact, high speed, which is typically how I like to play? Or, do I need to look at lefty power over righty power, those kind of things? Give me some suggestions. I'd be open to it. But in terms of what we've done since I've taken over, we have made no real progress. 3 straight years of 70, 72, 70, 70 wins. I mean, if nothing else, we're consistent. But it's all about that offense at the moment. So looking at the players going off on free agency, unfortunately, it's going to be some who really contributed this year. Merrifield, for instance, offensively was maybe our best all-around player. Performance-wise, I mean, I know the numbers that Devers put up are probably a little bit flashier, but I think Merrifield put up the best overall offensive numbers. Garcia, he was adequate. He was a positive wins above replacement player, but I won't really miss him. Wilson, thankfully, is leaving. Barrios, I'll miss, but I think he's replaceable. If this year was any indication of what a 2.5-star average pitcher with some decent pitches here and there and stamina can do, I think I might be able to replace him. Garrett, for sure, was ineffective. So I don't think there's too many holes to fill, and I do think we have some young guys here coming up that might start factoring in. Frisbee is another starter that I think has some upside. I'm going to look at him closely in the spring. Offensively, I think we go down here to San Jose and Eugene. We're going to find some guys with some upside, especially Arteaga, who was a low-level rookie when I took over this team. He might develop here and there. He's decent at short, but we'll see. Matos is another one who I expected to be one of the best prospects. He had a good year at Eugene. So there's some upside coming, but it's probably going to take a while. So I'm going to have to spend some money in the offseason, and I'm going to have a little bit, 80 plus million to spend. So this team is not in bad shape. I just got to know how to get that offense going. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you next episode.